Everybody, Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sunday, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, Sundays with Andrew Azarian. And it's Tuesday here on the show. You know what that means? God, I can't even believe it's Tuesday. It feels like it's Monday here. Because I was gone yesterday. I had a long journey back home. And tomorrow I begin another long journey as I will be heading to London for the AW pay-per-view weekend. Got a lot of stuff going on this weekend, including a Q&A. We'll tell you about that a little bit after the break. But in the meantime, we got a lot to get into here today. Lots of news. Last night was Monday Night Raw. They are heading towards Bash in Berlin. So we will tell you what happened on that show. It's a pretty good episode of the show. And then, of course, tonight is NXT. Got a bunch of matches and a celebration. Always fun to have a celebration on the show. We got that coming up here tonight. Got all the matches. Tomorrow is the go-home edition of Dynamite. And at this point, only 5 things announced for the show. I don't think they've announced anything else. So we'll give you the lineup for Dynamite, as well as All In Wembley, coming up on Sunday. And then all of the rest of the news. The G1 is wrapped up. I presume Mike talked all about this yesterday, so I don't think we have to talk a lot about the G1 here today. But we've got the ratings, SmackDown, Collision, and Rampage. Bryan Danielson, another new interview to get us not excited about his match with Swerve coming up on Sunday. Let's talk about a lot of people. A lot of people don't like Vince McMahon, Bret Hart, Ronda Rousey. Everybody's throwing him under the bus at this point. So we'll talk about that, plus a Raw report and your questions. 425-780-7566. That's the text message line. Text us. 425-780-7566. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live.
Thank God you're back.
Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Why? What happened yesterday?
Nothing. Tom missed a break.
Ugh, classic.
Can you
Hang
believe
on,
that?
Let me tell you right now. Mike missed a couple breaks. He didn't stop Tom from going when Tom was going and interfered with Mike's break. Then Mike blamed everybody that handles the atomic clock. It was Mike's disaster, yeah.
The atomic clock?
Stupid atomic clock and Greenwich Mean Time, which you're going to have to deal with soon on a boat over there, I've heard.
Thank you for the update, Dom. I'm glad
By the way,
I'm back.
that was only one break that happened, but
Is that true, Dom? It was only one break?
only one?
It was only one.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I guess that's okay then. All right.
That was your chance to plug the deal.
I already plugged that earlier.
Oh.
But I'll do it again. Dave and I are doing a Q&A on a boat. On a frickin' boat, everybody. The historic boat, the Tattershall Castle steamship. We're going to be there on Sunday. So if you're going all in, I mean, bro, you're going to be there Sunday. You may as well go to this as well. It's going to be a fun time. 11 a.m. on Sunday. We'll be out of there by 1 o'clock. You'll have plenty of time to get to the building for the show. And it'll be a live Q&A with Dave and I. And there's also a meet and greet. And the meet and greet was sold out, but we've added a couple of other meet and greet tickets. The original meet and greet, you would get a meet and greet and guaranteed a seat. But this new set that we put on sale, you get the meet and greet. We can't guarantee you a seat, though. It may be standing room only where you'll end up being. But if you would like to go to this, Sunday, 11 a.m., Tattershall Castle steamship, August 25th. It is permanently moored, thank God, at the Victoria Embankment, directly opposite the London Eye, 5 minutes from Big Ben, and the Houses of Parliament right in the center of London. You can enjoy incredible views of London's landmarks from the top deck before heading below deck. That's right. Yeah. To enjoy an audience with the world's, it says here, most prominent wrestling journalists. Huh. I thought we were going to be there. Anyway, if you want tickets, WOLiveLondon.com. W-O, as in Wrestling Observer, W-O, livelondon.com. And still some tickets available, but not a lot. But this is your chance to go below deck with me.
Have you and Matthew from Botchamania ever been in the same place at the same time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Did you ask for reparations for, using your work?
No, of course not. I was very happy for his success. WOLiveLondon.com is
W-O.
Yes, W-O.
Don't spell it W-O-A-H.
Or W-O-E.
Yeah, don't do that.
WOLiveLondon.com. Head up there and get your tickets now. I presume you talked all about the G1 yesterday?
I did, including my brilliant idea of what I would do.
Oh, what's your brilliant idea?
They're not going to do this, and it's not that brilliant. But look, I need a more serious Great Okan. I need him to turn into that Togi Makabe character when he broke out of being a prelim kind of comedy guy and started wearing the chain and was serious and beating people up, and they built him up and people ended up believing it. You know what I'd do at this point? I'd have Okan defeat Naito. I said it. I would have him do it. I would have him then lose the belt to Zack Sabre Jr., and then I would have LIJ in turmoil with Shingo and Yota Tsuji and Naito all trying to figure out who is going to be there on 1-4 at the Dome. And it would build some drama between the unit, and it would also give New Japan a chance to find out, do people want to see Yota Tsuji and Zack Sabre Jr.? Do they want to see Naito come back and get that title back? I think it would actually provide some drama. I don't think they'll do that, but at least it would be something interesting for them to do.
Listen,
they haven't done much interesting all year.
This is your wild idea? I had this exact same idea last week. I had literally the exact same idea. I said the Great Okan should beat Naito, and then Zack should beat the Great Okan, but I said at Wrestle Kingdom. Now that Zack's getting his title shot in like 2 months, that's an awfully fast turnaround. Great Okan would have the title for what, a month? So it's too fast now.
But here's the thing, then Naito can say, hey, wait a second, Sabre, you didn't beat me. And Tsuji can say, well, yeah, but I beat you. And same thing with Shingo. I don't think they'll do that because I don't think they want that drama there with LIJ, but I think it's about time for it. And it's also probably time as you get into next year to decide all of these guys that are supposed to be your young stars are playing back seat roles in these units for the most part. So start breaking, with the exception of Shota Umino, since he's a New Japan, quote-unquote, main lion guy. Everybody else is part of a group. Maybe it's time for Yota Tsuji to have a group or do something like that. I don't know. They got to mix something up there, I would think, because I don't know if, So if Naito wins, let's say he actually beats Zack Sabre Jr., then what do you do? You know what I mean? And if Zack Sabre Jr.
Well, Yota Tsuji needs to beat him at the Dome is what you do.
Well, I don't know. Again, Yota Tsuji, I hope they're going to push very hard for him, but I also hope they start pushing Gabe Kidd a little bit harder as well, too. They did some good things in the G1, but you can see where they didn't want to push all of the way.
Hey, at least they mixed it up last year. That's all I asked for, was for them to mix it up. So, yes, we got a lot of big shows coming up. The next tour has, all of the title matches. We have got the Jeff Cobb Yota Tsuji match for the TV title September 8th. We've got Hanari and Hiromu for the Never Openweight title September 9th. We've got Doki and Taiji Shimori for the junior title September 11th. We have got Never Openweight six-man tag team champions Tanahashi, Toru Yano, and Oleg Boltin versus Evil, Yujiro, and Dick Togo on the 14th.
Let me tell you something. If that team shows up on Wednesday and the world is exposed to Boltin Oleg going into All In, I'd be all for it.
Seems to be interchangeable here. And then the final show is September 29th in Kobe with Naito versus Great Okan and David Finlay versus Yoshihashi for the global title.
Yeah.
That's the lineup. And the winner of that match, again, if Great Okan wins, he loses. Well, he doesn't necessarily lose. I guess you could always have Great Okan win the title and beat Zack Sabre Jr.
Well, and here's the
Definitely
thing.
could do that.
They played up during the G1 that Zack was going to have all sorts of problems with him, and he did in their match before eventually beating him. So you could throw a big swerve in there. And again, if people take to Okan and people actually, again, are behind him, go ahead and actually push him. He's a guy with size who can actually wrestle, and when you drop the over-the-top gimmick with him, you can dial that back a little bit. He can be valuable to you. Doesn't mean that he's going to be your guy for several years here, but they were left in a bad position. And you see it now with Uemura hurt and with Umino hurting, that they're in trouble. They're not in trouble, but as far as big marketable stars, they don't really have any right now. So the more you can try to build, throw it at the wall and see if it works.
All right, we got a couple of ratings notes here. Everyone's favorite, SmackDown, 2.2 million and a 0.61, which is fine. There was no Olympic competition or anything like that. And, man, we're only let's see, it's August 20th? Where's my calendar? There might only be one more SmackDown on Fox.
25th, right?
Let's see. No, there's two more. There's a 23rd and a 30th. After that, they're off Fox. So that'll be fun to see everybody going, oh, my God, the show's dying. Look at what they're getting now on USA. What happened? What happened is they're not on Fox anymore, brother. Then we had Collision, which did 406.
Do you know how good that is going to be for the fourth quarter of USA, who is not going to, obviously they're going to have SmackDown, but for a short period they'll have SmackDown and Raw. And that is going to greatly boost them when they start showing off their numbers before Raw ends up on Netflix.
Actually, three more Fridays appears here. So Collision, 406,000 viewers and a .13, which was the best number in 4 weeks. And Rampage, 295,000 and a .10. Should I run right through this break, or am I a professional? Back in a moment, Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Okay, can everyone hear it?
Yeah.
There's a mystery bell at Granny's house. She can't hear it. Take off your headphones for a second.
I had them on wrong anyway.
Okay.
I can't get them on right. What?
Take them off and listen.
You have in your elbow?
Is the fan on a computer?
Nothing.
All right. Well, this is going to be an exciting show.
Gonna have bells ringing through the whole thing, and it's every week. It's got to be me.
Do you have a neighbor that's an ice cream man
No,
practicing out there?
I got a neighbor that smokes marijuana.
I'm sure you do. I guess
Whatever that noise is, I mean, it's still going.
Yeah, it's not going to stop, dude.
Brian, do you want me to get off here and go see if open the door and see if there's anything out there?
You think something's out the front door?
Is he ringing the bell the entire time?
No, Granny, you don't
Let
need
me
to-
in! Let me
it's
in!
Fine, it's fine.
If it's death, don't open the door.
Thank you, Craig. This person thinks it's a stove timer.
Have you burned the roast?
No, I don't have a stove. You want me to just get off here?
No. We're going to barrel through it.
I'd love it.
You're not even doing anything. Granny, Nick says that you've got an old-fashioned analog alarm clock in Terry's bedroom.
I don't know. I got a new alarm clock, battery operated. Is that what she meant?
Well, whatever it is, it's going haywire right now.
Oh, it might be my alarm,
Do you think?
but it's way back in the bedroom.
Don't worry about it right now. But when the show's over, you might want to go...
That's what it is.
Okay.
Solve the mystery.
Is there a reason you didn't turn it off when it started ringing?
Well, I wasn't in there. I didn't.
Duh.
I took a nap. I took a nap and set the alarm. I thought I shut it off, but I probably didn't.
No.
You probably didn't.
That's life.
I would say with a good deal of certainty that you didn't turn it off.
Brian, that's life around here.
Yeah, I'm well aware. I do the show with Dave, too.
Say,
Hear all sorts of things in the background.
did I do that? You know,
Yeah, you did do that.
or I thought I did that, but I didn't.
in there.
I wake up and I see lights on, and I say, I didn't turn those lights on. What's going on?
Maybe the place is haunted.
Could be.
Okay.
It's my brain that's haunted.
Well, I hope not. Instead of suffering through the YouTube chat, click like and subscribe. Very amused today to see everyone cutting promos on old Vince.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but first we got to do these Bryan Danielson interviews.
Oh,
This
what
guy
did
is
he
something
say?
else. Well, he talked to BBC Radio, and they asked if he was at peace with potentially ending his in-ring career. Yes, I'm very much at peace with it. If I wasn't at peace with it, we wouldn't have done that, right? I also think I've been wrestling 25 years now at this point. To me, it's now or nothing as far as winning the AEW title. Came in, said I was going to kick people's heads in, I was going to win the title. Kicked a lot of people's heads in, I haven't won a single title. He has not won a title match in the last 19 attempts. Yeah. He said, my life is just different now. When I was forced to retire, I wasn't ready. 2015 was kind of my last match. I was forced to retire in 2016. At that point, I'm 35 years old. I'm just like, it doesn't feel right. I also didn't have anything else to really put my focus and attention towards. Now I do. Wonderful family. I'm really excited about spending time with, that sort of thing. Very different place. It's by choice rather than by force. He also says, I am not under contract with AEW. I have no contract right now, he says. Yeah, I'm just not under contract, which is crazy. Tony and I have talked. I'll always pick up the phone when he calls. First thing that I'll have to do when I'm done wrestling, the priority is get my neck better. Probably involve some type of neck surgery sooner rather than later. That will be my first order of business. I'll help AEW where I can. Love AEW. Want to help as much as I can. As much as they want my help, I'm willing to participate.
How does this help AEW at all?
He's fighting for the title on Sunday, and he's joyously talking about his future life without wrestling.
I mean, if I win, I'll help him out and whatnot, but, I got things to do.
You know, if you want to live a life full of joy and contentment, then Bryan Danielson's got a great philosophy of life.
He does.
But you know what?
What's that?
If you want to sell tickets to a pay-per-view, this is not the way to do it.
No.
At all.
No.
At all.
Mm-mm.
So, anyway, what can you do? What can you do?
You
Now,
can
let's talk
work,
about
bro.
Bret Hart. This guy's so excited.
Well,
He was asked about Vince.
talk about everybody cutting promos on Vince. I mean, these are two of the pros at cutting promos on Vince. There's nothing new here other than maybe some new catchphrases that we can now apply to their hatred of Vince.
If you were in my shoes, Brett says, after everything that I did for them to do what they did to me. And I always hear this crap, like I think Undertaker said it a few days ago, that they had to do what they were going to do because there were no other options or something. BS. I had another 6 weeks left in my contract. There was a million things that could have been done. It was a case of liars and cheaters and backstabbers and guys that made that moment all happen. Shawn, Triple H, Vince, and I wish I'd knocked them all out. I have no regrets. It was the single greatest thing I ever did. He was, by the way, under contract for 6 more weeks after Survivor Series.
He was.
Yeah.
He was. Ken Shamrock, Jeff Jarrett, there were plenty of other people.
I was never a hothead. I wasn't a guy who acted out and just punched everybody that I wanted to. I was a guy that if you were in my shoes that day, Vince was calling my bluff. He was going to confront me. He wanted me to back down and take the high road. And it was a gamble that he made. And then he thought he was going to try and get into a little altercation with me. He wanted it to be like a pull-apart, and everybody pulls us apart, and then he can act like he stood his ground against me. In those fleeting seconds of having to think about this, I can't believe Vince is going to confront me. I didn't charge him or anything. We actually walked up to each other, locked up like a wrestling match, and then I knocked him out with one punch, and it was the greatest punch I ever threw. It was an absolutely beautiful uppercut right between his arms. I lifted him about a foot off the ground, broke my hand, but it was the sweetest punch I ever threw, and I wouldn't change anything about it, and Vince McMahon can rot in hell. Wow.
Hey, if you're going to keep asking him, he'll keep answering.
Oh, he will. Oh, he will. Now, see, he doesn't like anybody. He doesn't like Triple H, anybody like that. Ronda Rousey, on the other hand, she does not like Vince. She does not like Bruce Pritchard. She does not like John Laurinaitis. But she does like Stephanie and Triple H. She says, I love pro wrestling, but my experience in my last run wasn't the best. Death throes of the Vince McMahon era. They just made it so needlessly stressful. I wish I could just show up at the venue, already know what the match is, have it memorized. I've heard it's a lot better now, but yeah, that was not my experience then. My experience then was if you showed up on Saturday Night Live and no one had written the show yet, like you hadn't been filming it and practicing it all week, you just showed up and you had to negotiate what the script was going to be until the very last second. Even if we killed it, had such a great time while we were out there, it was just the needless anxiety of getting to the finish line made it not fun. So unfortunately, kind of put a gross kind of a film on the incredible experience. I hear from everybody. So much better now. I'm happy for them. But it's also, I got babies. I can't be taking them on the road. I did it with one for a little bit. Can't do that with two. It was hard on my husband for us not to be there all the time. Just don't think I can ask them to sacrifice that anymore. As far as her last match with Shayna, she says, if we would have done that match at Bloodsport, people would have loved it. But the crowd, it wasn't for them at all. It was all MMA Easter eggs, all these moments in MMA history that we're big geeks for. We're recreating, throwing homage to in the match, and it was not inviting any audience participation or anything like that. But, I don't know if you read my book, it was a nice little FU on the way out. We're going to sit there, you're going to sit there and watch this match that we wanted to do from the beginning. I don't care what you think, go get some popcorn, but we loved it. We had a great time. And from the very beginning, I always wanted to be able to wrestle with Shayna, put her over, and leave, which they never would have let us do unless I threatened to leave right at the new year when they told me I wouldn't be able to fight Becky at WrestleMania, which was what I came back to do. I was like, fine, I'm going to tag with Shayna. She's going to turn on me, then I'm going to leave, or I'm going to leave right now. That was the only reason we were able to do it, because they wouldn't let us do any Four Horsemen stuff. She said, regarding why they didn't do a match with her and Becky at Mania,
Say it.
because Vince is an 80-year-old a-hole. No, Vince, John, Bruce, they can all suck something, which I cannot say here on the air. But she does like Stephanie and Triple H. They talk about the kids.
Yeah.
When asked if she was done with wrestling, she said, full-time, yeah. I might have to come back and have some fun here and there, but I can't be leaving home and being on the road like that.
Bloodsport. That's right up her alley.
Regarding the finish of the main event of Mania 35, I don't think my shoulders are flat on the ground, so I was trying to scoot to get my shoulders flat because it's so loud I can't hear anything. But that's the difference between a match that got thrown together the night before and the debut match, which is a match that had been put together for weeks with tons of support and practice, opinions, everything like that. Why did we put a whole year into promoting and building this match, and then it's just thrown together at the last second? We were still figuring it out when we were at the venue, and that's what a lack of practice and rehearsal does.
Like a practice and rehearsal, I was going to say, everything that you said there about her quote, I'm sure there are a couple of old wrestlers who are listening right now that never got past you saying, what if you just showed up to Saturday Night Live and you didn't have a show written for you and you didn't practice it all week? And those guys are just listening right now going, well, you called it in the ring. That's what you did.
Well, yeah, you know what? She can't call it in the ring.
No.
So you got to do what you got to do. You gonna take a guy like Bad Bunny and tell that guy to go out there and call in the ring? No. Bad Bunny goes out there, he practices that thing for 6 weeks. Logan, I think, is doing more calling it in the ring, but, I mean, his first matches, same deal. I mean, if a person can't work, but they're a great athlete, then you gotta do this. But they didn't do it because, as I mentioned 1,000 times, it was a complete and total disaster. Everybody hated it. Every show was like this. You didn't know what you were going to do when you got to the building. Or worse, think about this. Okay, it's Monday. Actually, I'll make it easy for everybody. I'll give you a good example. All right, this is how it is now. Okay? This is how it is now.
All right.
Next week, it's Uncle Howdy versus Chad Gable, Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman, and the tournament to crown the Intercontinental title #1 contender begins. You know what's going to happen next week on Raw?
What's that?
Uncle Howdy and Chad Gable, Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman, and a tournament to crown the Intercontinental title #1 contender is going to begin. Okay? Name the last time they announced a lineup in advance and they didn't do one of the matches. You can't, okay? Back then, it was like every week they would announce a card for the following week, and it was absolutely 100% the exact opposite. Well, what did they advertise that they actually did? Oh, nothing? Oh, every single solitary thing they advertised, they didn't do every single week. So it's one thing for fans, but let's imagine you're Bronson and Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Thinking about this match all week. You're all ready to go. Got these ideas. They've given you the finish. You know where it's going. And then you show up at the building on Monday, and they're like, we ain't doing this. Bronson in your face and Sami Zayn. It's like, what? What?
Or even worse, it's going to be Braun against Odyssey Jones because you know what? All of a sudden, I don't like his aesthetic. I don't like what he looks like. I don't like something about him that's very small. So I'm going to now not do anything with him, and now it's going to be Braun and Odyssey.
That is what they would have done. But now they advertise matches, and they actually do them every week. So that is the lineup for Raw next Monday, though. And tonight on NXT, we have got Wesley, Pete Dunne, and Joe Hendry, #1 contenders match for the NXT title. We got the NXT Gauntlet match for the women. Jada Parker, Carmen Petrovich, Ren Sinclair, Kendall Gray, Sol Ruca, and Adriana Rizzo.
Love it.
Winner gets a shot at Roxanne. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson versus Hank and Tank. Lola Vice versus Wendy Chu. Ashanti Adonis versus Dion. That's the guy with the book.
Yes.
Dion Lennox.
Yes.
The heck was I supposed to know that? And Chase U, speaking of happy days, they're going to have a title celebration. And I can't wait to watch. Back in a moment with more Observer Live. We did, in fact, by popular demand, watch Ready to Rumble.
The champion is some fat loser.
Yeah, he's a completely talentless, no athletic ability, can't wrestle, broke bum that walked out on his wife and kid.
But he was
he's
over.
the world champion.
He
and
was.
in the movie, the
well, yeah, but
storyline
that's a
is-
microcosm of wrestling, sadly.
Yes.
He feels so bad about drinking this entire slushy that cost $1.26, and he sticks his finger in his asshole and walks up to the clerk.
Lance is dying. How could the movie be so bad?
I'm not going to fault the man for that, of all the things in the movie.
I thought for
okay?
sure you were going to say you'd done this before.
There's a reason I'm not going to fault the man for that.
I just think with all the porta potties and farting in this, that I think Vince McMahon was a secret producer on this film. Had to have been.
So then we get the Shermanator. He's playing a WCW arcade game. He uses some internet sleuthing to find the personal information of Jimmy King.
He's searching the internet. Gonna find out anything on here. This movie was so antiquated. Every Nitro Girl is in a Nitro Girl outfit, except for this girl. They had her
want
dance
her
in
to
something
stand
totally
out,
different.
Brian, like the captain.
So we're so stupid. I got it.
Captain
Yes,
Stavin.
if you're watching this film, you're that stupid. I'm sorry.
But I was also insulted by the fact they hired Michael Buffer to announce the Royal Bash, the fake-ass Royal Bash.
$24 million budget.
Wow.
And probably $500,000 of that went to Michael Buffer. It made 12. You know, we
He
should
unveils-
mention this cage match is the triple-decker Cage of Doom. Everybody buried it. It was horrible. Everybody hated it. And so they decided to make a movie. And what is the final battle? It's another goddamn triple-decker cage match. This would be like in 2010 if like TNA made a movie and the final match was a reverse battle royal.
They throw powder in someone's face, DDP's, I think, or somebody's, and the dude just looks at it and goes, "It doesn't work." It's like, of course, because wrestling's fake and stupid.
Should we just end it there? What a soundbite. There has never been a movie I have watched in my entire life which has made me hate myself more.
Wow.
I'm ashamed that I'm even in the place at 41 years old where I would end up reviewing this movie for money. I would have thought I would have made it out of here by now. You know what I mean? I'm done.
Well, everyone, hopefully we can do this again someday. Instead of suffering through the YouTube chat, click like and subscribe. On the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. So, the Dynamite show on Wednesday, Toni Storm defends the AEW title against Saraya. It's ridiculous.
She's so out of her mind, she's got to give her a birthday present.
It's like one of those things that, like, it doesn't matter, and we all know who's going to win and everything like that. But when you think about, let's think about this logically, okay? Let's think about this like it's real, okay? Toni and Mariah they were together for what, 9 months or something like that? They built to this gigantic breakup. Mariah ends up winning the Owen. You're doing Mariah May versus Toni Storm for the title in Wembley. One of the biggest matches on the show. Maybe the biggest women's match they've ever had. And in storyline, this absolute maniac Tony Khan is allowing Toni to defend the title 4 days before that match. Where if she loses, she's out of the match.
Yeah.
Why would you do this as a promoter? Like in storyline, why would you do this? It doesn't make any sense. But that's the match. Okada will face Claudio Castagnoli. And by the way, how did we get into it? How did we get to this match, by the way? Toni Storm is gifting her the title match because it was her birthday last week.
Yeah. Why would she do that? Why?
I don't know. I cannot explain it, but it's happening. Okada versus Claudio for the AW Continental title. MJF and Will Ospreay go face-to-face. Chris Jericho faces Tommy Billington. And Hook faces Big Bill. So that is the lineup for Dynamite. Coming up on Wednesday. All right. Raw. A lot of stuff happened on Raw.
No Britt Baker?
What about her? She's not on the show.
I don't know. Would they advertise her if she was?
Well, I'm sure they will advertise these people like tomorrow afternoon at like 5 p.m. They'll announce. It's usually like Wednesday after this show ends, I've been told, is when they make these announcements. The show airs at 3 Eastern. So 4 Eastern, the day of the show, you're going to announce Mercedes and Britt and whoever else is going to be there. Okay, whatever. I mean, I don't live on the internet. And the thing is, I know the AEW wackos do, or whatever he calls them. Sickos. But, like, most people don't, okay? Most people are tuning into Dynamite, and they're like, what? I didn't know this person was on the show. What? I didn't know this. Just like last Wednesday when Britt Baker actually worked a Collision show. I was like, wait, Britt is on this show? Collision? What? It was like they announced it Saturday during the day or something. It's like, why would you do that?
I was giving them the benefit of the doubt that it was something that I missed on Rampage, but did they really wait until Saturday? I would doubt it if they did.
It's funny you mention that because I always like to talk about how I watch these shows. I watched Collision Saturday, okay, right after the show was over. And the show opens and they hit Britt Baker's music. And I thought she was like going to do a promo. I was surprised she was even going to do a promo on Collision, you know. But then she's like in her gear. And I was like, she's wrestling on this show unadvertised. And she comes out to wrestle Harley Cameron. And I mean, I could rant about that match. I mean, that whole segment was just terrible. I mean, Harley, whatever her name is, like
Camille.
She's getting heat on Britt for minutes on end. And then,
Harley, yes.
then when it's over, Camille comes out and in a straight one-on-one fair fight, just absolutely destroys Britt Baker. I was like, this is the worst segment. Like, who put this together? But anyway, forget that. All this happened on Collision. And I'm watching it going, this was not announced on Dynamite. This was not. What is going on? So then the next day, I'm going to watch Rampage. So I watch Rampage. And you know, there's old Harley with Saraya. And the entire segment is setting up Saraya getting a shot at Toni Storm on Dynamite on Wednesday. And there was no mention of Britt Baker. There was no Britt Baker challenge of Harley Cameron. Nothing. This must have been announced Saturday afternoon or something like that. Whatever.
At least on Rampage, you got to see Erica Lee, who I figured
the greatest jobber of all time.
You know what? What's her team's name there? The Outrunners. They look like they were created by Saturday Night Live writers, really. And now they actually have Kristen Wiig. If she actually played a professional wrestler, it would be Erica Lee. And she was fantastic, taking the tail kicking that she did. I did see that on the show. The only other part I saw was Layla Gray in her new flight attendant gear. And you know what? I'm actually all for it. I know people. I know you guys were talking about the pants or whatever it was with top. Who cares? These guys need personality. They need to find a way to break out. Yes, they have incredible moves, but they have been. You talk about it, guys at the same level forever. Action Andretti, Jericho's going to get them. All this stuff. They haven't gotten them over. If this is the thing that does it with eye candy and some, gimmicks, fine. That's what gimmicks are for.
So Randy Orton came out to cut a promo, and then Gunther came out, and they went back and forth for a while. And Gunther has promised, and I quote, to leave Randy a bloody mess at the pay-per-view. And Randy threatened to stick his boot up his buttocks. And then Gunther wanted to fight, but Kaiser jumped him from behind. They beat down Randy Orton. And they set up Randy Orton versus Kaiser for the main event.
I'm already hoping the Netflix era is not gratuitous.
Man, then we had an awesome match. Sheamus and Pete Dunne.
Says killed each other.
This match absolutely ruled. The place is going crazy for these guys. Sheamus is the best Sheamus he's ever been. Like, in his life, he's never been better. And he ends up, the finish is so great. Last week, Pete whacked him in the hand with a shillelagh. So he's selling his hand. So at the end of the match, Pete shoves his hand into the turnbuckle pad. So he's like handcuffed and he can't get out. And Pete's just pounding on him. And like, Sheamus literally had bruises all over his face. They're just pounding on each other. And then finally, Pete goes on, like this. And Sheamus takes his hand in the buckle. And he freaking tears the buckle off, and he jumps up and bro kicks Pete and kills him. This was awesome. This match ruled.
Can you imagine if the Sheamus of 10 years ago, who you would lament all the time because he would just waffle and kill dudes and would be really can you imagine putting him in there with how you talk about Hangman Adam Page?
Yeah, but you know what? There's a difference.
Let those two kill each other?
He did not have a great reputation 10 years ago because he did hurt people.
Not.
Now he has a good reputation because he doesn't hurt people, because he only hits people in safe places now. So, big fan of Sheamus.
I was going to say, I just want the old version face Hangman now. He's killing everybody.
I don't want them to kill each other. Do you understand?
Hey,
I don't want that.
I bet you
I'm a
that
nice
would stop.
person.
If they get Hangman hit with one of those, clean it up, son.
Kofi met with Woods, and Woods finally admits, I don't like this idea. It feels like you're replacing Big E. Kofi says, I'm not replacing him. I'm trying to do what the veterans should have done for us, which is give this guy a chance. Woods says, I think you're right. We had Ivy versus Maxine, which never happened.
Over-enthusiastic hug, though, was good.
They're brawling all over the place, and all of a sudden the Wyatts' music hits, and Nikki and the Wyatts appear, and Nikki attacks Ivy, the Wyatts attack Chad, and the Creeds. The fans are chanting, you effed up. Chad ends up in the ring with all of them. Uncle Howdy shows up, lays him out with Sister Abigail. Next week on Raw, Uncle Howdy will be facing Chad Gable. Big match.
This is one hell of a Muppet show now. It really is. And what people are reacting to everything. Everything.
Then we had Damian Priest and Rhea doing a pre-tape promo. They had these, and then they had another one with...
The Terror Twins?
The Terror Twins, yeah, even though they're not twins. CM Punk came out with a leather strap. He wants a strap match with Drew McIntyre. And apparently what happened is the bracelet that CM Punk has been wearing was not like some gimmick, but it was like some shoot fan gave him this bracelet. And they started doing angles with this bracelet. And then the shoot fan made some comment on Twitter about how, I can't remember what she said, but it was like, you know, she indicated, I'm part of the story now. That's my bracelet, like, you know what I'm saying? And so last week they just dropped it. They're like, I don't need the bracelet anymore. I don't care about it. Forget it. Keep it. Well, apparently they found the fan that made the bracelet. They have made contact, and I guess everything's all right now because now the bracelet is 100% back in the storyline. So they solved that problem. They're like Pete Dunne. They figured it out.
The creator all of a sudden is walking around with this new big bag. Wonder what that means.
So anyway, Drew, he took off the bracelet because Punk said, I'll give you the strap right now. You can beat me up. Just give me the bracelet. And Drew said, I ain't giving you this bracelet. Because you know what? April and Larry are safer and happier at home with Drew McIntyre. And Punk's like, he's so mad, he was like dumbstruck. And his last line, like I'd listened to it 4 times as he like blurted it out. I couldn't figure out what the heck he was saying. This actually ended up quite great.
If that was done intentionally, they did a good job with that.
New Day and Odyssey versus the Final Testament. Kofi, heat on Kofi. He tries to make the tag, but the only hand there is Odyssey, which makes Woods very angry. But Odyssey makes his big comeback, gets the pin. Xavier ain't happy, but you got us to win, brother. He gives him the high five. Bronson Reed and Miz.
How is Xavier sold on a team that always loses? Hey, guess what? I'm playing this mind. I'm driving a wedge into you that everybody sees, that you know yourself. You've admitted to it. But here, we're going to lose again. So just keep trusting me. What is going on with that whole unit, that whole team?
Bronson Reed.
Salvageable.
I got to get through this show, brother.
Go ahead.
Bronson Reed and Miz, no DQ. 3 guesses what happened here. Miz got killed. And, man, it's Bronson. He goes up top for that tsunami, and like you can just see like the entire crowd, like everyone gets up on their feet at the same time. He crushes this guy to death and pins him. But of course, he must do more. So he goes up to do the second one, but before he can do it, out comes Braun Strowman. And in fact, next week on Raw, it is Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman. My flight better not be delayed. God. And then Damian Priest and Dom didn't happen because, of course, Judgment Day came out and Rhea came out. Everyone's chanting Yeet, and they want Jay. We want Jay chants. No Jey Uso yet. That's coming later. They beat him down, left him for dead. It was a good heavy heat angle. Damage Control, Shane and Zoe, Island Alba. Island Alba retained the titles. They got the win. Clean, actually. And it was a good match. I didn't think they were going to be long for this title reign, but they actually put him in, and they got the win here. So looks like the next match is Bianca and Jade. And then the main event was Randy Orton and Ludwig Kaiser, which, of course, Randy Orton won with the RKO. Gunther is disgusted. He hits the ring. Orton does the old school draw the line in the sand. They start brawling. And again, I think they missed their cue because this big brawl starts, they're off the air. So I don't know if Randy laid him out. I don't know if Gunther beat him up. I have no idea. They just missed their cue.
Got to go to social media.
I wasn't directed there. Did anything happen?
Apparently, Randy Orton laid him out on the floor, posed with the belt, looked at it lovingly, and that was that.
Yeah, they got to get their act together. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Granny, what's happening? What do we got for the wrestling report here today?
Talk or something.
Talk or something.
So Niven comes in, jumps on Bailey with her overweight body a couple of times, doesn't mind playing dirty, leaves Bailey on the mat in lots of pain. I found this book. It's called Limericks from the Heart.
Is this a Lanny Poffo book?
Let me finish this one. This guy's name is Lanny Poffo. And there are 335 pages in here. Can you guess what it's about?
Smoking.
Oh,
Sean
Hey,
the
yeah.
Wizard.
have you read it?
We read it every week for about 6 months.
When I first started.
Wow.
Why don't we start reading some questions, and we'll see if we can spur some answers out of Granny. Shall we try?
No, I don't think so.
Let's try.
Then you'll really find out how dumb I am.
Granny, did you know there was a wrestling bear?
No, and I don't care.
All right.
It's a bear that wrestled people.
I still don't care.
Okay.
Is Granny frozen?
Granny, you frozen?
No, I'm ready to read my report.
Your picture is frozen.
It is?
Yeah. Or you're doing a great job as a ventriloquist.
Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa, or whatever his last name is. Paul Newman is watching this match, and he's not on
Excuse me?
Cody's side. What's the matter?
Absolutely nothing. Everything's great.
You know, Cody did say that he was looking for a manager. I think him and Paul Newman would be a
What a handsome pair.
a dashing duo.
That guy's a movie star, isn't he?
Since you're on the phone, why don't we just jump right into your wrestling report and such, and then we'll let you go and we'll do Facebook without you.
Can I lay the phone down and can you hear me?
You can try. Why don't you give it a shot?
Okay.
Oh, boy. It's going to be a disaster. I can already tell.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. That's all right, I guess.
Go ahead.
No, it's your segment. You're gonna read
Us jokes.
or your wrestling report or whatever. I see Granny has now put the phone back up to her ear.
I'm just, for now.
Do you have the soaps or anything else, Granny, or is that it?
I want to quit for now.
Okay. Well,
No more.
instead of suffering through the YouTube chat, click like and subscribe. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. So tonight, Bryan and Vinny's show will be
with Vinny.
No, he's not around.
Oh,
he's already out there. He's doing his thing. I'll actually tell you what we're watching tonight because it's unusual. Should have probably mentioned this earlier. Yeah, for tonight it is Season 3, Episode 8, NWA World Championship Wrestling.
Excuse me?
February 21, 1987.
What?
Yes, we are watching this because we are making Vinny watch the primetime wrestling that we missed. We're not letting him get away with this. So since he's gone, we're going to watch the corresponding NWA. What was NWA doing as WWE was simultaneously building up to their biggest show of the 80s, WrestleMania 3? What was happening on the other channel? We shall find out.
I know.
Probably had a bunch of people like Lenny watching it and going, this Mania 3 build is mid. But anyway, we're going to review it tonight.
Compared to Cosmic Fireballs.
And then tomorrow it'll be Observer Live, and then I'm out of here. So
me too.
Mike's going to have the rest of the week.
Wait, what?
Yep, and Monday. Although I think I get home in the middle of the show Monday. I leave...
Barge in?
What is it? I leave at noon London time. I think I leave at 12:30 London time and arrive at 12:30 London time on the same day because of the time change and the... Anyway, that's going to be weird. But anyway, I'm out of here, everybody.
He'll be in a great mood.
Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time. Wrestling Observer Live.